Hello and welcome back. All right, so I hope you're ready to start coding your first website. What we're going to do is we're going to go over the structure of HTML and set up our first HTML file, and then we can begin coding the web page. Yay! Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and create a new HTML file by going up to File and selecting New. Go back to File, select Save As. Create a new folder anywhere on your computer. The desktop is fine. And then we need to give our HTML file a name. So when it comes to naming your HTML files, you can name it based on what that web page is. For example, if you have an about page, you could do about.html. But if you have the home page, you're not going to do home.html. Instead, you're going to do index.html, and then that lets the browser know that that's the home page. So we're always going to use index.html for the home page. So let's go ahead and use that and click Save. We now have our working file over here, and we can also add our folder by clicking on this button and then selecting that folder that you created. I already had mine selected, so you should now see your new index file right here. Anytime we add additional files to that folder, they will automatically show up over here underneath this section here. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and click on your live preview icon so we can see our browser update as we add new code. So HTML is made up of tags, attributes, and elements. We're going to go over each one of these individually, and let's start off with tags first. So our tags are the building blocks or the foundation of any web page, and all the tags that we have available to choose from format the way the content is displayed in our web browser. So let's take a look at how our tags are written out. So the first thing we need to do is add an angled bracket or a less than symbol. We then need to type out the name of that tag so that the browser knows what that tag is specifically. So we can type out HTML, and then we close out the name of that tag with a greater than symbol, and then brackets will automatically add an additional tag right next to it, and here's why. Most tags have what is known as the opening tag, which is this right here, and a closing tag. So we still have the name of the tag in our closing tag, but we know it's a closing tag because it has this forward slash. So we need to let our browser know that we have a new tag that's starting right here, and this is the name of it. We then have our code and content inside of the two tags. And then we need to tell our browser, okay, we're done with this particular code and content, and we're closing it out. So we're stopping right here. Now, not all tags have a closing tag, and I'll show you one of those in just a second. So another popular tag is our paragraph tag, which is just the letter P for the name, and it too has a closing tag. Another popular tag that you're going to be using on a regular basis are the head tags, and there's a total of 6 of them, and we can see they're numbered 1 through 6 right here. So again, we have another closing tag, and I'll explain why we have these 6 different head tags in the future, because we're going to be using these head tags in our project as well. Now there's many more tags available, and we're going to be using not only these, but many other ones as well. And these are probably going to be the most common types of tags that you're going to be using in all of your projects. All right, let me go ahead and show you a self-closing tag, and that's our break tag, which is BR. And this does not require a closing tag because once I finished, you can see nothing was added to it. And it's referred to as a self-closing tag because it doesn't need a closing tag. And we will be using this in the project so you can actually see what this particular tag actually does. All right, so when it comes to the structure of your HTML file, we have to do so in a specific order for our browser to be able to properly display our content in the web browser. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all of this and delete it. And the first thing that we need to do is we need to tell our browser the type of HTML file that we have. There's different types of HTML and there's different versions. We're going to stick with HTML5 for now because it's the most used HTML version. So we're going to add a piece of code to tell our browser that this is HTML5, and it's going to look like a tag, but it's not necessarily a tag. So we're going to start off with an angled bracket, exclamation point, and then in all caps, we're going to type out doc type, then in lowercase HTML, and then a closing angled bracket. So this is known as a declaration. It tells our browser exactly the version of HTML we're using, in this case, HTML5. If you're using XHTML or HTML 4.01 or something else, then your declaration is going to be different, but we're just going to stick with the basics for now. So the next thing that we need to add is an HTML tag. So go ahead and type this out as well, and then just click return to add some space. So everything inside of these HTML tags are the elements for our web page. So this basically just lets our browser know that our HTML code begins and ends here. Then we have two more pieces of information we need to tell our browser, and it's based on the two main parts of our web page. And we need to define the visual part of our browser, which is this area here. And then there's another part of our web page that is not visible, and that can include the title of the page that will be listed up here in the tab, as well as additional information to let our browser and search engines know more information about this specific web page. For example, keywords, metadata, links to our CSS file, and other types of files that we may be using in conjunction with HTML. For example, PHP, jQuery, and things like that. We're going to link those files to the index.html file in that part of the web page. And again, that's not visible. So to do that, we're going to type out our head tag, and then everything listed inside of there will go right here. And again, it's not visible. And then the next part of our web page is the body. So let's go ahead and add a body tag. And this is going to include our content, images, text, paragraphs, and anything else that's going to be visible on our actual web page. Okay, so we now have the basic structure of our HTML file. Let's go ahead and save it with Command or Control and the letter S, unless of course you did install that plugin to autosave. In that case, you don't have to worry about it because it's already been saved for you. Now that we're done with our structure, we can go ahead and begin adding some content to the head and the body, and we're going to start doing that in the next lesson.